Hello and welcome back to another episode of Shuga Says Let's Talk Live. And let's talk we will. Let me make sure I'm in good frame because you know I want to be in good frame for all you guys. Now I am very ecstatic today to introduce. Hold on now. My phone is making noise and I can't have that happen while I'm live. That is so unprofessional. That's all good. I'll fix that. Now, I'm so excited about my guest today, bringing back with me for another week for Hot Topics. Oh, before I bring him on, this week is about hot topics with cocktails, conversation, and cooking with Miss Lainee Hunter. Yes, indeed, I did say her name, Lainee Hunter. I know you're excited, and I'm excited too. So let's just kick things off. Coming back with us for yet, let me see, a third week. Bring back Tyler Price, my favorite companion to giggle with, actor, singer, and director. Welcome back to Shuga Says Let's Talk Live. Hey now.
Hello, let's talk.
And of course, our chef for the day on this Friday, Miss Lainee Hunter. Welcome to Let's Talk. We are all
Hey.
glowing with full joy and jubilation, and I know you are as well. Firstly, let's talk about what everybody is drinking. Well, today, I don't know if mine is a cocktail, but this is just some basic mango vodka, and that's good enough for me.
That's clean.
Tyler, what do you have going on? Sip.
All right, I have some E&J in
Okay.
my Tina souvenir cup. Yes, I keep
Yes.
them and I wash them and I reuse them. All right
As you
now.
should, as you should, as you should. And Lainee, what you have drinking on today?
So it's a variation of a Negroni because I really love gin forward drinks. And typically it's like each part is equal. So it's more gin, less Campari, and less sweet vermouth, which is like the best.
Yes, I love
Cheers.
it. Come on now. Yes, cheers to the
Yes,
Friday. There we
cheers.
go. Yes, we are cooking things off in
Delicious.
the right direction. So, Lainee, what are you
Yes.
cooking up for us today? Firstly, let me just say I'm so glad to have you back for a second time. Tyler, she
Thank
cooked with
you.
me earlier on during the quarantine. She brought joy and jubilation not only to my heart, but to my viewers when she made us something healthy, fresh, and fun to keep us going during the time of Corona
All right
quarantine.
now.
And now she's back again with yet some more surprises. Delaney, let us know what you are cooking up on today.
Yeah, so I've been really into finding gazpacho recipes, which is a cold soup. There are so many variations. So let's say you hate tomatoes, that's cool. You can do a watermelon version. You could do fruit gazpacho. But what I love about it is you can customize everything. You can make it a little sweet. You can make it a little spicy, which today I have an entire bag of jalapeno peppers. We're not going to put the whole thing in. You could if you wanted to, but that's even a little too hot for me. So all I'm doing right now, I'll tilt my camera down, is just prepping all of my ingredients. I'll go over kind of each one. And then what I love about this recipe is it's super simple. You don't need a blender. You could blend it if you wanted, but I'm just going to combine everything in a glass pitcher. And then anytime you need a cold snack or even dinner, you just dump it into a bowl. You're set. It's delicious. The longer it sits in the fridge, the better it tastes. And I've had this in the fridge up to a week. So it's going to be delicious. And I'm going to continue to kind of prep the ingredients. But that's what we're making.
Come on, keeping things fresh and stacked up in the fridge. That's what I like.
That's what you
Something
need.
that's mixed up and ready to go.
It's too hot for the oven.
It is too hot for the oven.
We do
Tyler,
that
I know
later.
you like to warm things up. You know what I'm saying? So I like things fresh and ready made from the fridge is good to go. Well,
Perfect.
as you are preparing things, I think it's time for us to jump into our very first topic, a topic that I know everybody, including my guests, would love to chat about. One that took us all by surprise. But are we ever surprised when it comes to this person? So let us kick things off with Kanye West for President 2020. For those who are unaware, let me give you some background information. So, on July 4th, to kick off this momentous holiday, Kanye informed everyone through his Twitter account that we must, and I quote, now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I'm running for president of the United States. Hashtag 2020. And if you were stunned and flabbergasted, so were the other celebrities. There were some mixed reviews.
Oh my
Elon Musk,
gosh.
oh, excuse me, his wife quickly, his wife, for those that do not know, is Kim Kardashian. She retweeted in support. Wonderful. Elon Musk, he swiftly followed as he would. He said, you have my full support.
Oh
Not
my
everybody
gosh.
is in support. So we have NBA player Steven Jackson, who said, excuse me, he posted a picture of Kanye West hugging Donald Trump, and then he said, no more voting for celebrities who has never held a public office. And then he also said, you wouldn't hire a plumber to work on your electrical wiring in your
Oh my
home.
gosh.
Why would you vote this way? And then Jamie Foxx said, God, right. Ain't got no more time for the bull
God.
explicit. And I would have to agree with that. One more point. Before Donald Trump was voted into office, during one of these award ceremonies, one of the reporters asked Johnny Depp, how do you feel about the pending election coming up with Donald Trump? And he said, if he wins this election, the presidency will never, ever be the same or taken seriously ever again. And here comes Kanye to prove this point. I am not in support of this. I don't think this is like, theater play like what we do. It is real life with real lives at stake. So I don't think you can jump in like it's double touch and then jump out when you're tired of
Oh
it.
my gosh.
But that's what Shuga has to say about that. I would like to head to you, Lainee. What are your thoughts on Kanye for president first? I know
Well,
Tyler's just bubbling up with things to say.
don't worry. It's so funny. I love when I wake up in the morning and my phone has exploded because I'm like,
Yes.
something has happened, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is major news. Like, this is something serious. And it was just, people were just texting me Kanye in all caps.
Oh
And
my
like, I
gosh.
think they know I am a fan of the Kardashians. Like, I admit that it's entertaining, but I do take it for what it is. I understand what I'm consuming here. And I think, I don't know, it made me a little sad because I was like, on top of everything,
Right.
to kind of be serious about it is a little distracting. And it kind of feels like, dude, like, it's the last thing we need. Like, I'd love another amazing album from you. Like, that would be great.
Yes.
Or
Yes,
some
yes.
sort of like your Gap collaboration. That's awesome. But like, to distract from things and also kind of really researching, because this made me curious, like, at what stage do these candidates need to be in at this point? Apparently he hasn't done
Yeah, he
anything.
hasn't.
And I'm like,
No.
this isn't real, but like, please do not distract young people from Googling the policies of Trump versus Biden and instead Googling like Kanye West's policies that aren't shown yet. So it was funny. I was kind of just like, oh my gosh, but I just really think we need a leader who kind of knows politics this time and what people need and understand how all that works. But it was hysterical because everyone was texting me as if I knew this guy and was like, what is happening?
They were like, why did you tell us Kanye was running for president?
Why is he running? And I was like, you know what? Don't worry. I'm going to call him. He's my friend. He will tell me the truth and I will solve it for all of you. That was really funny. But
Thank
this
you.
is my reaction.
Very good. Thank you. That seems like about Tyler, let me bring you in. What are your thoughts about Kanye's ambitious
Okay, so
ventures?
first of all, this is one of the reasons why I am on my little social media break. I just logged on to share the video just because I needed to, but I got on the social media break because, so he announced it, and I don't agree with it. I'm like, Kanye West, really, this is not what we need right now, as Lainee said, and I am also a Kardashian fan. which is a part of the reason why I'm a little upset with our society right now, because when this was announced, it seems like people just thought this was the perfect opportunity to attack Kim Kardashian. And in my mind, I think, this is an example of a woman who took an embarrassment and turned it into an empire.
Yeah.
And, it's really upsetting because this is a woman who, me as a black man, I've seen her fight for, so many things with the president that like nobody agrees with. You know what I mean?
Right.
She went into the White House and got people who look like me out of jail for doing things that people who look like Miley Cyrus post on their Instagram stories. So like I have a lot of respect for Kim Kardashian, and I do have a lot of respect for Kanye, and I watched some clips, the highlights, of his 4-hour interview about his candidacy.
Yes, 4 hours. He's right. It's up there. He has a lot of things to say. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yes, exactly. And I watched some of the highlights, and I do agree with some of the things that he said. Like, the black vote should not be just something that the Democratic Party thinks that they're just going to get every year. Like, that is honestly one of the most racist things that this country has depended on since Bill Clinton. And maybe before, but, Bill Clinton is as far back as I've gone with looking up elections and stuff, because my mom was very vocal about politics back in the day. But like, I just think it's very upsetting that people look at it like that. And I think, when you're a star of that caliber and you've done all these great things, maybe you should be using your platform to say, hey, it's not just about the president, it's about the people that you can literally email and get a reply from, like that, your representatives, your senators. It's about them. So instead of putting this focus on himself right now, I just wish that he would take that focus and actually empower the black community and be like, hey, people are depending on you to just hate Trump, but just hating Trump is not going to cause change in this world. So it kind of upsets me that he did this, because I'm like, at first, when it first came out, I thought it was a joke. And I was like, am I voting for Kanye? ? Oh my God, so cute. And then he came out with the interview and I was like, oh.
No.
It just feels like a distraction when people should be focusing even a little more closer to home in their communities. And if we start there and get the right people elected in the communities for what your needs are, all of our needs are, and then we work our way up. I mean, people forget about all of the different factors. It's not just the president and then the governor and then the mayor. There's tiers and tiers and tiers and tiers of people who make decisions that affect our lives. So I should probably put the knife down while I discuss this.
You know what it is? Because Kanye has you all riled up. So you're only expressing what everybody feels. So as we bring this topic to a close, Kanye, I know how passionate you are, just in case by some chance you're watching, because the internet's always watching. Please try to use your magic in a more positive manner. We know you're ambitious, we know you're brilliant, but maybe this one you want to rethink. And that's about all Shuga has to say about that topic. So now we're going to head on back to see what Lainee is doing in the kitchen. Where are you now? Let me bring you on so we can all see you.
Hi. Okay, again, I'm going to tilt this down. So I'm just chopping all of the vegetables. And this is kind of a fun trick that you're probably looking at this going like, what is happening? So I'll come down here. Cucumbers can sometimes be bitter. And so this is called milking a cucumber. And all you do when you cut it in half is rub it together. And this milk comes out, you wipe it off, and it takes any bitterness out of your cucumber. So what's fun, again, about this gazpacho is, and I'll make sure Shuga has a list of all the ingredients. You can make it as crunchy or not as you want. So like, I like to taste the bell peppers a little bit more. So I'm going to leave those a little bit less finely chopped. Whereas this onion, I'm going to really, really make it nice and fine, or my garlic is going to be really, really nice and fine so that it kind of, is in every single bite. So this is all about texture. If you wanted to throw this into a blender, you could. Just do not hit the puree button because it's going to look a little weird and we don't want that. Think more of like a smoothie, and we're not like liquefying your soup. Or you could really, 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 really blend it and make it into a nice soupy consistency. But the first batch I did, Ben, my fiance, looked at it and he's like, this just looks like pico de gallo and we don't want that. So I'm just currently chopping up everything and milking my cucumber. It works. I swear.
That sounds amazing and interesting. I did not know about milking the cucumber. Oh, that's what we call it in my country. And speaking about milking something, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Wonder Years reboot, because we just can't get enough of reboots. Okay, so a little bit of background information for everyone. Oh my gosh, I forgot to check how long the Wonder Years was running. It was running for a very long time in ABC. One of the amongst the longest running shows on ABC. We know we had Fred Savage, we had characters like Winnie. Took us along on a life journey. I love that show. And it did very, very well. Okay, so this week, we're all in a Black Lives Matter and everybody is conscious about what's going on now. ABC has released the information that it wants to reboot. There's a commitment done for this reboot of the Wonder Years with Fred Savage as the executive producer and bringing on Lee Daniels. But let me give you the basis. So it is loosely based on the Wonder Years. This will be about a Black family in the 1960s in Alabama. Let me take a pause. If we all know the civil rights era did go on in the 1960s, now I enjoyed the Wonder Years. I spent a lot of time laughing. It taught me a lot of different lessons. 1960 for people of color wasn't as funny. So we might have laughed to get through, but we weren't laughing the entire way. I have very mixed feelings about this project. Number one, okay, flip two sides. From the film side, reboots are easy to do because film doesn't always like to take chances when it comes to new ideas. You want to get ideas that people are familiar with because you can secure a demographic just off GP, right? But the flip side to that is, even how long are you going to watch this time period? How funny are you going to make it? Like, the Wonder Years was campy. We laughed at all the elements that him and his brother went through. I don't recall laughing at documentaries that I saw during the 1960s. Or do we come up with a whole new concept like Everybody Hates Chris? How about we put it in the 1970s where we had some hard times and some up times? There was disco, there we were going through, we were rising up. And although everyone's conscious now, the real question is, and this is what we're here discussing at Shuga Says Let's Talk, when 2021 comes, do people still want to see this information? Is there going to be an everlasting thirst for that? And that's just real talk. So
there should
I don't know how they should be, but I mean, it's the real tea. How they're going to feel about it. So I don't know how I feel about the Wonder Years reboot. Tyler, what are your thoughts about this?
I feel the same way as you. I love all of those shows from that era. I was, for a while in my life, I was watching reruns of the Leave It to Beavers and the Wonder Years, and I wasn't really into Happy Days like that, talking about, but it was cute. And my thing is, when you base something like this in the 60s, mind you, the Civil Rights Act was signed in 1964. I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm like, are you just like, oh, we're going to do the Wonder Years? Oh, we were going to do the Wonder Years before, but now that y'all are calling us out, let's slap black on it and then do it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, are you about to show the Wonder Years in this fun, loving way and all this stuff? Or are you going to talk about the
we lost you.
I just don't see it being executed.
Right. I agree. I don't know how long it can be sustainable with that topic. And again, I feel like take it loosely and then call it something else, but I'm not sure. Lainee, your thoughts on this subject?
Well, something that I've just been giving a lot of thought to is that, you mentioned, Shuga, I don't want, the Black Lives Matter movement and this attention that should be to this entire issue to be gone. And I feel like some people are using and abusing it to, make a profit or stay trendy. And that's not what it's about. And it's a bigger shift than just okay, well, let's take these predominantly white shows and just, like you said, slap black on it, right? And I just don't feel like that's the answer to what we need. And I would be more interested in watching something that, if you're going to do 1960, great, do 1960, but show everyone what it was like, and don't try to make it. I mean, there can be these tender moments that draw you in, and I think there's a lot of rich storyline that we haven't heard, and I would love to be, immersed in that. Because I mean, just my first two best friends when I was little, were Black, and my mom and dad were they were like, this is just, they're no different. And I've never had any sort of, I don't know. I don't want to say I didn't see color because I'm not dumb here, but I just feel like I need more of that to people who do see it. And this is not the answer. This is going to be too campy. Sorry, I'm off my soapbox. But
no, you're fine. But you're 100% correct. And to your point about not seeing color, we never really know the difference until somebody forces us to know that, which comes from the world. Because when you're playing with your friends, you're just playing with your friends until somebody tells you you are different from your friend. So I also like your point about, yes, there's so many rich stories, which from the Black perspective, we will love to share those stories, so that we can really be immersed and get a full understanding. Just slapping it on, and I mean, like you said, there was a rough time, but you can get some tender moments, because that's how we've been able to sustain all these years, is by leaning into those tender moments. And I just don't know. Now, Lee Daniels is a very good producer and filmmaker, so I don't know how I feel about
They're gonna it's going to come down to really good research, and they have to be so thoughtful, and they need to take their time, because if you rush it, you don't do your research, it's going to come through, and then that backlash is going to be dicey.
Right. So hopefully culture. There are some good people at the table, because we've seen many situations when there is not enough diversity at the table, except for Susan and crew, and they're always so proud of themselves. And then when it comes out, you're like, oh, so we did not do well. No, you didn't. So, we just have to, like you said, balance, really take your time, and hopefully it comes together.
It'll be good. Yeah.
We hope. We can only hope. There's so many different things that can come when it comes to television and television ideas, but we'll see. Just like we're getting ready to see where you are next in your cooking.
Girl, here we go. I am a chopping monster over here. So now I'm just working on the cucumber. Now, the easiest way, I would say, to chop these to get a consistent isn't this just beautiful? Like all the colors here. I love it. Is to cut it in half, flip it over, cut it thin. Again, how thick you want it. You can do 3, you could do 10, and then chop it here, and then give it a quick rough chop, and you're done. Now, when you cut a big onion, a little trick, this is the root, as if I were to put it back together like this. And then at the end is always like the little tail. And sometimes I used to, when I first started really diving into cooking, because I'm definitely an amateur chef, I would cut it the wrong way, but the root holds together the onion. So if you cut it down at the root and then you flip it onto your cutting board, I'm then going to cut toward the root a bunch of dices this way. Now, because of the way the onion grows in these rings, when I start to cut, it's like magic. You get a million of the identical onion pieces so that the flavor is consistent, and you're not eating this and then all of a sudden you're like, and that was a mouthful of onion.
Oh my word.
Oh, a little onion here, a little onion there. It really rounds it out. So I'm just going to finish chopping, and then at the end, I'm going to throw everything together, give you the ingredient list, and it's pretty much done. You'll just set it in the refrigerator to chill, and it's so good.
Well, speaking of talking about some magic, let's move on to our next topic that is stirring up quite some controversy. Hamilton, the movie, is now on the canceled list. Okay, so for those, let me give you a little bit of background information. So Hamilton, the music, debuted on Disney Plus on July 3rd. And excuse me, those Disney executives know how to run a good business, because if you had a free trial of Disney Plus. That trial ended just in time before
I
the
did not know
release.
that.
Oh yes, Disney plays no games, and you had to pay the subscription price in order to watch it. Now it did debut, and there was quite some critiques over it. People were saying that it was downplaying slavery in the show, and it called for it to be canceled. Lin-Manuel Miranda took a little time to respond. So he responds on July 6th after making his Twitter account private, which people had a problem with that as well, like people always do. And then when he did respond, he said that the critiques were valid, that he was trying to capture the sheer tonality and complexities of people, but it took 6 years to fit everything, and there's only but so much he could fit in 2.5 hours of a musical. He did his best. It's all fair game, which I agree. Now the critiques were carrying on still on Twitter. One critique said, "Why are we celebrating Slave Trader?" And then Ava DuVernay, as she likes to come in as a well-educated, well-vocal woman, she said, "Huh? Hamilton traded enslaved Africans. Jefferson did, Washington did, Madison did. A Broadway musical ain't a history book. I actually read those. So I understand the difference between a brilliantly rendered play and actual American history. And Ava gave us a perfect statement for those individuals. As artists, we're all artists here. There's only but so much that you can do. It is up to you to research. We give you loosely based stories. Just like in film, at the beginning of the film, it will you'll see the words based on the true story of. It did not say that it was actual events. So for people to just take it and then criticize and not actually do their research is also on them. And then also, I feel like people have so much to say because of the time that we're in. You might not have made those comments before, but now you're making all those comments. And I think at the end of the day, Hamilton is a leader in the type of production it is, because we've never seen a production like that prior to his existence, diversifying the cast members. And there was even a video on Twitter of this little Asian girl, and her mother was like, did you see it? Her mother said, "Who is that?" And then she's like, "That's me." She saw,
Yeah.
oh, you saw that one? Eliza. She's like, "Eliza is
Yep.
me." And
Yep.
we need that. So at the
Yep.
end of the day, I think that is what he was aiming to achieve, and that's what we as theater artists have always celebrated. And now it's open to everyone. Granted, like he said, it's fair game, so everyone has something to say, but I don't know fully if they should be jumping into the conversation because they don't have all the information. Like Ms. DuVernay said, I read the books, I write, I know the difference. Tyler, I know you've been bubbling up to let us know your thoughts, so jump in on this topic.
Okay, so yeah, so like I said earlier, I took a break from social media, and this was also one of the, if not the biggest reason that I did, because when Hamilton came out, I had just, well, it came out before I graduated college, but it became like popular when I was graduating college. So that's when it was on the Grammys and the Tonys and everything. And I remember being so empowered because not only did I see Black people on stage, but I saw Black people on stage doing things that, like, they weren't playing stereotypes. They weren't getting these Tony nominations and getting these great reviews by playing a slave. And if you look at the history of what people like me, people like you have won for, it's been someone who's oppressed. So for it to be someone who is in power, that's what I see. And when I watched the bootleg back in college with a bunch of my friends of all colors at in Natchitoches, Louisiana, I remember us being so excited and so happy because this music that we listen to, what I mean, has never been celebrated in our art form. So I grew up, yes, I grew up on Nicki Minaj and Beyonce and Alicia Keys. But I never saw a casting description that had those names in it. DMX played at all of my dances, but I never saw a casting description that was put in that. I saw casting descriptions that were like Bruce Springsteen and like all of that stuff, great artist, and Elvis Presley, great artist, but I never saw a Broadway show that actually embodies it. And Hamilton did. And when I finished that show, I wasn't thinking, oh my goodness, wow, like slave owners were amazing people. I wasn't thinking that.
Right,
And I
right.
also want to point out this, and then, I'm good because I could go on for hours about this. But I want to point out, and this was one of the biggest reasons why I got off Facebook for a second, because I was like, now I'm becoming angry. When I see theater people being upset about this and bringing this up right now, it's just reminding me that you were not focused on the Black lives before it was mainstream, because the summer of 2016, I was working as an improviser at a theme park, and we were doing an old country western type of theme thing. And I remember them telling me, you cannot be shot. We will not shoot Tyler because the Black cast member cannot be shown being shot at this theme park, because police brutality and all of this, like, racial injustice, everything that was going on was happening.
It was
that
happening.
moment.
Right, right, right.
And that is when Hamilton was at its peak, its first peak. Now it's at a new peak.
Mm-hmm.
So it just reminds me that you were not paying attention then, because if this was such a concern for you,
Right.
you as a theater person, you knew Hamilton. You knew exactly what it was. And you seeing the full 2 hours and 14-minute musical should not change the fact that you knew what it was. Hamilton is not about slavery. You want to come for a musical, there are plenty of musicals that you can come from on the Great White Way, not Hamilton. You are focused on the wrong thing. You are fighting for something for clout. You are not fighting for it for the actual moment. And I will give you a history lesson for 5 seconds. George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, all of these people were complicit. Okay? Yes, some of them, Thomas Jefferson, even George Washington, have done some problematic things with their slaves, but they were complicit, okay? We are not talking about Robert E. Lee or Jefferson Davis, who led a war killing American people so they could keep their slaves. We're not talking about those people in this musical. So it really aggravates me when people come up in here with that negativity towards something that is uplifting people of color.
Right.
And you are trying to cancel it when there are so many musicals where people of color are looked at as background characters. And you are not calling to cancel those. You're hopping on a bandwagon, and guess what? That bandwagon is not going to help the kids in my neighborhood, in my hometown neighborhood.
I agree. And in addition to the people of color, just so many diversified people. I did not know, because I know, like, people of color, that's Black and Latinos, it's hard to be cast. But I learned several years ago, and that was through an article published in Backstage, the Asian population gets less than 1% of the job. What type of calculation, number one, is less than 1%? So I had no idea. So to see them on the stage too, and for us to just be focused on the work, because at the end of the day, I think that's what we all want to be seen as, artists in the work. And so, and again, when you take it to another level, it is fair game, but I felt a little bit disappointed in some of those critiques as well. Lainee, your thoughts on the subject?
This just really made me, I don't want to say, I hate, just truthfully pissed off at the internet, because I'm like, who are you to sit behind your phone and say Hamilton's canceled? And I think, Tyler, you put it perfectly when you were like, you know what, there are other musicals you could focus on. Two things. It's like, yes, Hamilton is not about slavery. Most people who probably didn't really focus on that much about Alexander Hamilton, they now are, and it puts an interest in kids in American history. Number two, you don't like it? Write one. Instead of sitting there and like complaining and bitching about Lin-Manuel's amazing artistry, where there are so many things about that musical, even the work of, like, my friend and I were discussing this earlier today, just like watching how they integrated the ensemble to really enhance everything, and like bring back that Tony for best ensemble. We can talk about that later. Because I like being in the ensemble. But and really celebrating that work, and not just like people just sit behind their phones and keyboards and think they can say whatever they want. And like, we need Hamilton. We need creators that make legendary things in film, in TV, and in theater. And it's so important that this is brought to people's screens, because you can really see the acting that you don't get to see in a theater. You really get to see the choices and how incredibly difficult it is to do that. 8 shows a week.
Say it
8
again,
times
sister.
he does that. 8.
Absolutely.
Damn. And then lastly, to speak on your point, I mean, I met Shuga in a show where her role in that, honestly, I mean, it made me uncomfortable that she was our only, you know, like diverse cast member, and it was not in the type of, I mean, you should be up there belting your face off because you can. And it's, you know, I just, yeah, I thought a lot about that too. And so I'm happy to see musicals that are diversifying and like celebrate that. Like, you are nitpicking for no reason. And like, I don't know, maybe you're mad you're not in it. Sorry.
It is
Go
true.
to class.
Come back in for a second. Like, it's more of a reflection of American history. I'm glad we're having a discussion. I'm open to the, you know, like Lainee said, the critiques are valid. We can talk about it. It's the cancellation that I don't like.
Right.
You know, we can talk about our founding fathers and how they were complicit with slavery. The fact that Hamilton doesn't focus on slavery is an exact depiction of how it was looked at when this country was founded. People didn't talk about it.
Right.
They didn't start talking about it until Abraham Lincoln was like, "Yo, okay."
Right.
Like, and even he had to say it 27 times before people took it seriously. You know.
And I think it's very important that we keep things in context. Although this movement is happening, what I've been preaching is education and re-education. So people want to like eradicate, but you got to take everything in the context of when it was happening. Just because it's a wave and you want to jump on it, if you want to jump on, make sure you educate yourself. And I feel like many of those critiques, they don't know, they're not educated enough to even be a part of the conversation. However, as he said, it is fair game and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Some opinions I still feel are not valid. However, as an artist, you know that that's what comes when you put your work on display. And I think a lot of people don't understand the bravery, the courage that it takes to put up such a work. They see the end product and they don't understand how amazing, how much work, how much you sweat and cry to put up something like that. And they're lucky to be receiving it in their house for the subscription rate of $6.99 and not the Broadway price, which is exactly. So they don't understand, and that is fine. And that's why we as artists should be ruling the world, but not Kanye. And as we move on to the next topic, let us see what Lainee has going on in the kitchen.
All right, guys. Hold on. I have tomato. Oh, can I just say, make this gazpacho when you're feeling like you just need to get something out or like take out the aggression on the jalapeno pepper, because
like our conversations about Hamilton and Kanye.
I'm just like, yes, I agree with that. I better watch my fingers here. So I love this part because I'm just combining all of the fabulous chopped ingredients. And how fresh does that look? And you really get these pretty layers. And like, if you want to throw this up on your gram, like when you make it, and I don't know, tag me or something so I can see all of your amazing work, and tag Shuga too, please. So I would love to see it. But yeah, I'm almost done just chopping all of our ingredients. And then basically what we're going to do is add all of the accoutrements. So I have some Himalayan sea salt, just a couple twists of that. We're going to juice an entire lemon, an entire lime, because I like it tangy. And this also, these are acidic. It helps preserve the food so that it can last a little bit longer. Because I like to balance a little bit of my spiciness with a little sweet, we're just going to do a tiny tablespoon of honey, which people would be like, oh, in a vegetable gazpacho? Yes, trust me. I'm also going to play with this because I like to experiment. We're going to add a little mint. And then I usually do scallions, but the grocery store didn't have them. So today I'm going to try chives. And that's what this is all about, gang. We're being flexible. Like, what is in season, you can look up fall gazpacho, summer gazpacho. It's limitless. And then some basil, salt, pepper, and red wine vinegar. Again, you'll have the quantities listed out, but I love vinegary things and it's really good for your gut. So I just like dump half the bottle in there. But do it what you want. And then to kind of really round out everything, we're going to finish with tomato juice, or you can do vegetable juice depending on what you want. And that's going to give us that nice soupy texture. And then when you eat it, drizzle just a little bit of olive oil on for your healthy fats. And this just really rounds out the flavor. And that's basically it.
Yes, indeed. Well, I look forward to when you get to the next part. Let us know when you're ready
Wow.
for us to come back, when you'll mix everything together.
Yes.
Speaking about being flexible, our next topic is scream in your heart. For those that don't know what that is about, let me fill you in. So,
Oh, this
see,
is
they're already
amazing.
laughing because they know it's quite the topic. Okay, so in Japan, I'm not even going to play myself and attempt to say the city in Japan. So, excuse me, you guys can look that
Oh,
up
good.
after. But in, thank you, right? Because I'll be struggling. But in Japan, a theme park has reopened this week with a new and strange rule. So, in order to ride the roller coasters, of course, you have to wear your mask, but in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19, you are being required to scream in your heart. Yes, I did say that correctly. Scream in your heart. How does one scream in your heart? You might ask. Well, the video, which is up on CNN or any other news
Oh my
outlet that
God.
you like to watch, I saw the two CEOs and they demonstrated so people could understand. They had their mask, and when they wanted to scream, they might have gripped their mask with their hand and screamed within themselves. They didn't put hands up, they didn't do anything, they've maintained. Now, I would like to say many Asian cultures are very disciplined. They have a rich history when it comes to being disciplined individuals. So I feel like this is something that they could really truly execute. However, when you leave that area, it may be very difficult for people. And maybe also it goes along with the theme of coronavirus pandemic, because I feel like everybody's screaming within their heart.
Yeah.
Lainee, jump in and give us your thoughts on this wonderful and interesting new
You
way
know,
to go to the amusement park.
it's rare these days when I'm on my phone and I cackle out loud, like sending down the hallway. And I did when I saw that and then the demonstration because first of all, on a roller coaster, would you ever be like, okay, I'm just gonna cover my mouth here when you're going 60 miles an hour upside down into a G-force loop? Like, no, that's usually when I scream my face off, or I'm going,
Right.
oh my god, oh my god. I'm the loudest person on a roller coaster, so I was thinking about screaming in my heart, and then I like just for kicks and giggles thought I would try it in my bathroom in front of the
Ah,
mirror. And it
wait,
looked
you
like
have to walk us through what that looked like. Because I know everybody watching wants to know. Please let
I
us
don't
know.
know if I want this on the internet, but I'm an artist. I'm an open book and I'm brave. So
Yes,
I
yes.
basically just had my mask on. And it looked like I was like probably giving birth or, having an issue with some gastro thing. But I was just like, and then I gave it like that. And I just looked insane. And it was a great dose of humor. Oh, I have some
You were cooking.
tomato on my face. Sorry.
That's all right. That means you're
Um,
listening. You're cooking.
it's everywhere on my hand. Also wash your hands after you chop a jalapeno because I didn't, and now my top lip is on fire.
Oh, I'm
Pro
so
tip.
sorry. So sorry.
No, it's okay. It's
Screaming. You're screaming
spicy.
within. You're screaming within your
I'm
heart. The
screaming
bird.
within my heart. Anyway, it was so funny, and you know what? God bless them for like trying to keep everybody safe and allow them to do something fun.
Yeah.
Do I think that's like a little unnecessary? I do. Because what they're also forgetting is you are moving so fast on those rides that it's not like Corona is just going to like come over and stick. It's like already 15 feet behind you in like a second. So I would not feel personally nervous about catching coronavirus on a roller coaster. I think that's a great environment to get it out and scream out loud and in your heart when you need to.
And before
Hilarious.
before you chime in, Tyler, I also want to add that screaming is also involuntary. So sometimes you
Yeah.
didn't tell yourself to scream, like it's a reaction that happens by itself. So I don't know. I think that's very interesting. And seeing those two CEOs demonstrated, that was quite a sight to see. Guys, if you have not seen this video, you have to go look at the two of them screaming within their heart. That's interesting. Tyler, your thoughts.
Look, I can barely watch a YouTube video of an artist I like singing at a concert without screaming. So please don't expect me to get on a roller coaster. And, that may just be the American in me. A part of our culture is just not doing things that we do not want to do.
Right.
And I don't know if I can get on the roller coaster and internalize the scream in your heart. That's what got me. Because it sounds like something that your old like grandmother would tell you and be like,
Yes.
honey, when you feel the need to do that, just do it in your heart. Just do it
Right.
in your heart,
True,
baby.
true,
You
true.
know? Because I'm sorry, I remember getting on my first roller coaster, and I'm terrified of that kind of stuff. So I didn't get on my first roller coaster until my white friends told me to do it at senior trip. Okay, and I remember I screamed my life off. I screamed my life away. I almost passed out. Okay,
True. Me
so
too.
I just, I'm happy for the effort. I live for the effort because they just trying to keep everybody alive. But I agree with Lainey. I don't think the roller coaster is where you're going to catch the Rona, especially
No.
after entering the theme park and they take the temperature at the temple, and they do all of that. Like, I think, you're not gonna catch it
I'm
on
not
the
worried
roller
about that
coaster.
there.
And if you're
So
so
just let
worried, why are
out,
you?
let it out.
Right, just let it out. And if you feel that this is a problem, don't even go to the park. Maybe skip it until next summer. That's
Yeah,
my
Yes,
suggestion for that.
but shout out to them. Good for
Yeah,
them.
shout out for them for
it's good for
trying. Everyone's
them.
trying to figure out what to do during this time. What are you going to do?
Yes.
Now I'm ready to scream at what Lainey is cooking up for us. Let's peek
All right,
back in
guys.
and see what she has going on.
So we are ready to add. This is what my concoction looks like. Lots of pretty
Pretty.
layers.
Oh my goodness.
Then I'm going to open and give it a shake. Hold on. Oh, also good at-home workouts if you need a little weight. You know what I'm saying? Before you
Yes, you
Oh
must.
my
You
just trying to stay
God.
creative, guys.
Look, you have to
Okay.
make it do what you do during this pandemic,
We gotta
Corona.
do it. So it's literally this easy. You can look at the lovely mess I've made. Put this here. Just gonna take my juice, and then if you want it less soupy, just add less. But I'm just gonna go ahead, dump it in, and fill it to about there. And the last ingredient I have to add is my honey. And you could measure it, but honestly, it's easier if you just take a tiny spoon, a little bit of a teaspoon, and add it. And this is from my Nana's recipe. She puts honey in hers. So this is a
Come
shout
on,
out to
Nana.
Nana, who
Wow.
is amazing. And now what we're gonna do, last thing, if I can find my tool, I just need a spoon. Here we go. I'm just gonna give it a little mix and really try to bring up all those delicious vegetables. You can see that when you take a bite, it's gonna have all these delicious vegetables and herbs in there. I added the chives, can you see me? Sorry. And the mint. I would put fresh basil on the top when I eat it. And you know what? Let it sit for 2 hours minimum in the refrigerator. Take a bite and if you're like, this needs more vinegar, dump it in. This needs to be more spicy. Oh, last thing too.
Yes.
Dump it in there. And it's so good. It's so healthy. It's hydrating, which is important if you're drinking too many quarantinis or you're sweating because it's hot.
Hold on now. What did you call it?
Quarantini.
Okay, just want to make sure I didn't miss that. Okay, very good.
No,
Quarantine.
like if you're drinking too many of those quarantinis, then you can have some of this. It will hydrate you. It will nourish you. It will stay in the refrigerator. And it is so delicious. Make sure you drink it chilled and so easy. You just dump it all in, just like you saw me do. And that's it, guys.
Yes.
I'll give it a little taste.
Oh,
Give it
yes.
a taste
Taste
now,
it.
just
Taste
for
it.
now.
Taste it. We have to
But like
see.
I
Since
said,
we can't taste it.
you want it to marinate, but let's see. I'll tell you how spicy it is on a scale from 1 to 10. That is even so good, just like that. Sorry if you don't like crunching.
No,
You can hear
I
all
love
those
a good
vegetables.
crunch. I love
You
it.
gotta do a little crunch.
You do.
guys.
You do.
That was a big jalapeno I put in there. I love it. I love when I can like feel that heat in my chest, like as if I was screaming in my heart.
Yeah.
She got it.
But
She brought that back around.
the mint really cools it down. So the mint is crucial.
Now,
That's it.
can you? I don't know if this is correct, so just let me know.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that before. And do people put like a cream on top or something else to chill, to balance out with the spice? Can you do something like that?
I think you could. Usually, I've seen it in a lot of green gazpachos where they do, I think, like spinach, zucchini, or peas, and they'll have like a chilled pea soup is really good. One of my favorite restaurants is doing that all summer, and they have this like beautiful white
Yes,
spiral
I've
in there.
seen
And
that.
it's,
Right.
if I were to blend this more, like really blend it down to where it would almost be the consistency like this, like of a juice or a soup, then I would try to experiment. That's a good idea though. Maybe like a nice like lemon and Greek yogurt type thing to kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar, you're giving me ideas.
Well, that's what we do here. Sugar says, let's talk.
I
Talk
love
about you
it.
and brand new ideas. Wonderful. Well, I wish that we could taste the spice too, but I feel like we can smell the spice. Right? Can't you smell it,
All over
Tyler?
my
I feel like we can smell the energy. We can
yes.
smell the spices.
Oh,
Yes,
look,
yes.
there it is.
It's so good.
Lovely, lovely.
And I just have to say,
yes.
Lainee, look, this could be a platform for you, okay? Because as I was watching this, I am not a cooking type of person. I am a recook, okay? I like to take what you cook and put it in the oven and then cook it for myself.
He's true.
But I will say that the way you've described everything has been so helpful, and your voice is so soothing. It's that theater training that got
Thank you.
right.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, now that we're in this new normal time where we have to find our new hustles because the mecca of our entertainment industry has been closed down until 2021 is the earliest. I think, I would push some Lainee, cooking with Lainee content.
Okay. Lainee, you've been hearing that very often.
I have. Okay, you know what? For you guys, I'm gonna go a little outside my comfort zone, and because it's Sugar that's actually forcing me to. I don't want to use the word force. You've been really encouraging.
It's force from love.
It's force from love. It's forceful love. Yeah, good encouragement. Because I usually just put it on Instagram, and I'm like, do people want to see? I mean, everybody was like, I'm doing bread now, and I'm making this, and I'm like, well, I actually want to give my friends like, this is how you chop an onion, and like the secret to smashing garlic, which is in my other video, Tyler, with Sugar. If you don't know my garlic trick,
she has so many of them. She does. For all my viewers, if you want to see more, you must look it up on Sugar Says. Lainee gives all of the best step-by-step suggestions and tricks. This is what I like. So for all my viewers, you want to see more of Lainee's cooking, please add it down in the comment section. Add her name and a heart so that we can continue to forcefully encourage her with love. You like that? So that she can bless us with more and more cooking segments. Now, thank you very much for that. Please don't forget to include the recipes so I can tag that on for all those people that want to do a little Lainee Hunter magic of their own. Now, I'm going to change things up for a little bit, just a little bit of somber, but more of a remembrance. Now, as theater professionals, we like to celebrate our fellow theater colleagues, and we are saddened but celebrating the life of Nick's Cordero. I want to make sure I say his name. Did I say his last name properly?
Yeah, Cordero, almost.
Cordero, okay. Who passed on Sunday after he had a long battle with COVID-19. He leaves behind a young child, and his wife, and all the fans that love him. He has such an outpour of so many celebrities, film as well as stage. Viola Davis, Lin-Manuel, like so many people. Kerry Washington, so many people tweeted about how much they appreciated him, and not just his craft, but many people, I believe, knew him as a person, spoke highly of the character and who he was. And now there is a petition going around to change the name of the Long Acre, did I say that properly, theater?
Long Acre,
that he last performed at, to do A Bronx Tale, the musical, to change it to his name. I'm not sure where the amount of signatures are in that process yet, but I know that many people are very enthusiastic about it. And even if there's just like a wing or some sort of remembrance, I think if it's not the theater name is changed, but I think there should be something there to remember him and his career and just the life that he lived. Thoughts on this wonderful actor and his passing? Lainee, we'll start with you.
So yeah, I've met him a couple times and his
Okay.
wonderful wife, Amanda, so I was in the first national tour of Bullets Over Broadway, which he was in the original Broadway cast as Cheech. And so I'll never forget when I went and saw Waitress, and he was there. I just grabbed him outside the stage door and was like, "Hey, I've kind of met a few times. We're neighbors on the Upper West Side." But I was your girlfriend, Violet, in the show of the tour, and everyone just always spoke so highly of you, and a lot of our castmates knew him and got to work with him a little bit more too. So just having that just extra little bit of connection and being in the fitness industry too, and following Amanda's amazing journey of like Rockettes, Broadway, and then starting her own fitness business and keeping that going, and their beautiful son. I was very invested in their story, and just to see it come to an end like this, I think it's just an insane reminder of how precious and fragile life is.
Yes.
And to really wake up every day. And I mean, I always try to just like extra hugs, extra just affection to the people you love, or picking up the phone, calling somebody instead of texting them, checking in, and really listening. I don't know, all these things really come to light. And I hope that everyone in the theater community, when we do feel so upset about so many things, like really come back to the most important thing, and that is relationships with your friends and your family, because that is what gets you through everything. And the amazing community that he built, and Amanda, because they're great people, is just, it's so evident like how awesome they were, and that community is the fabric of everything you do in your life. So I am so sad that he is gone. He should not have died. And I really hope that people who weren't believing, I'm glad it's a bigger story now. Because some of the cities that weren't hard hit, like us New Yorkers, I think they need to know that Corona is not fake. Real. And you need to, people are losing their parents and their friends and their sisters, their brothers, everything. So it breaks my heart. I can give you some GoFundMe information if you want to donate to Amanda or to Elvis to send him to college. The Rockette sisters are doing something for them. Yeah, it's really heartbreaking.
It is. And although people may see us on the stage or on the screen, especially for theater actors, it may not be as glamorous in terms of the financing as one would think. So yes, donations are welcomed, because it needs to be sustained and the child needs to grow up and support. So any support that one can give will be much appreciated. And yes, so please include that information so that I can give it to the viewers anyhow that they can help. Tyler, your thoughts?
I think with the theater community, when it comes down to us, we're such a special group of people. And I think we're realizing that in so many ways when it came down to, this virus and what it did to our industry, and how it really affected our industry in a way that, hasn't affected others, besides, people who, are those essential workers who are, treating these patients, because, excuse the cocktails and come up, but you see, the way that it has affected our community is already just devastating. Broadway has never been closed down, ever. To lose someone during this time, to lose someone in our community during this time, and to lose someone who, from what everyone is saying, everyone who's encountered with this man is so kind and so nice and so great and such a great soul and has this beautiful family. To lose someone like that at this moment where we're all hurting so much, we need to do something to honor him that is going to permanently honor him. Even if we can't, because I don't know how Broadway names and theaters work, but even if we can't change the full name to him, if we could do something to where this man will be honored for life, and his child can grow up and be like, what, my father
lost my dad
his life during this time, but this is the impact that he made. I think it's something that we deserve, that he deserves, and that we should do as a community. Because you know what? At the end of the day, our community celebrates everything. You know, we may
Right.
come for each other internally, but you come for us outside of our community. You will never do that. You know, we celebrate even the biggest divas of divas. You know,
We do.
you will never come for us outside of our community.
We
You know,
do.
we
We do.
celebrate them. You'll never come for us outside of our community. We may
Mhm.
sometimes bicker with each other, and I hope that this COVID has you know humbled some of us and got us back together to be like, you know, that petty argument that we were doing before COVID is not important. You know, we got to stick
Yeah.
together. I think us as a whole, we're showing resilience right now, and we're showing that we can last, and that, you know what, we change lives. And I think about all of the lives that this man changed from his many performances and his many platforms. You know what I mean? I need him. You know, we don't have in the theater community. I know a lot of branch off into film, and I encourage that because I'm like, get your coin. But the majority of us don't have that platform, don't have that legacy. We can't just you can't just Google Angela Lansbury's first show. You know, you can't do that. I think we have to find a way to honor this man because we lost him at a time that our community was hurt and our community was so affected. We need to find a way to honor this man permanently because he is kind of the face of our struggles right now. I know that
Yeah.
might sound a little crazy,
Right. Mhm.
but he's the face of that struggle. And the fact that we lost him, and he was such this good man who inspired so many people, I think even if you don't name the theater after him, we must do something to honor this man's legacy so we can go back and look back and be like, wow, you know,
Right.
that was
Right.
a time.
I
But at least
agree.
we never forgot him, you
I
know?
agree. So for everyone, you know, if you happen, especially for my artists, if you happen to see the petition that is going around, I'm not sure who
I
sponsored
think
the
it was
petition.
like 30,000 signatures, the article I saw today, but that could be
Right,
outdated.
right,
I
right.
did see like they're working on it, or yeah,
Well,
something.
please, everyone do join. And for those that still, like you said, Lainee, think that this is a hoax, this is indeed real.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
encourage everyone to please stay safe because it's not just about you, it's about all of
Nope.
us. And speaking about industries, the recreational and entertainment industry has been the hardest hit out of any industry
Everyone.
during this. Like the theaters, now there's some that's doing some extra stuff, which I'm not going to talk about that this week. But the bottom line is all of the
Yes.
actors are
Next
struggling,
week.
especially
I can't wait.
especially in theater. So please wear your mask, stay safe so we can move forward and get back to work. Well, thank all the viewers again for coming on Sugar Says Let's Talk Live. Thank you, Lainee, for
Thank you
cooking
for
out
having me.
something spicy, something
Yes.
I know.
cool.
My lips still burn.
Yes. Come on now, so then you're screaming within your heart. Look at you practicing it and you didn't even know. Thank you again, Tyler, for coming on and giving us great commentary. And thank all the viewers for watching us this week. Hopefully, you
Yes.
laugh with us. So much to laugh about. Again, I send out energy to Kanye. Please reconsider this presidential bill and use your magic for good. Okay, that's what I have to say about that. So, to everyone, be safe. Have a great weekend. To my guests, I'll see y'all soon. Peace.
Bye.